Mike Radich here, and I'm now joined via Skype by Bellator light heavyweight Brian Rogers. Brian, how are you?
Doing well, can't complain. How about yourself?
Doing good. Thanks for asking. Brian, you recently picked up a win at Bellator 147 back on December 4th. You defeated Virgil Zwicker by second-round submission due to an arm triangle choke. How pleased were you with your performance in the fight?
I was happy with it. I think there's still, room to grow, definitely, and things can always be improved on. But it was a big win. It was definitely a back against the wall type of fight, and I was able to get it done. So definitely happy about it overall.
Mm-hmm. Obviously, you finished the fight on the ground, so there had to be a point in the fight where the fight got taken to the ground, and you initiated the takedown. You got the takedown and got the fight to the ground. You started landing bombs, you started throwing a lot of ground and pound, and then eventually worked your way towards a submission. But I'm just curious, why did you decide to go for a takedown? Was it something where your corner said in between rounds 1 and 2, they told you to take the fight to the ground, and you just saw the opening and it happened to be right then and there? Or was it because the round was close and you were trying to steal that round, and that's why you decided to shoot in for a takedown? Why exactly did you go for the takedown in the second round?
It wasn't a game plan going into the fight. People kind of think I'm just going to stand and trade with him, which I like to do, but don't necessarily have to do. So it wasn't the game plan. I took him down to the end of the first round as well. Mm-hmm. He was able to pop back up after a little bit of ground and pound and whatnot. But it was just a part of, we thought he would wear down eventually if I mixed up my strikes or takedowns. That would take a little energy out of him, and that would also potentially lead to a submission, which was able to. I actually told Manny, our Spanish commentator in Bellator, that I was going to sub him that morning. He was in the workout room working out with Jimmy Smith and some other guys, and I was drilling and just getting loose, about 11, 12 o'clock in the morning. And I said, "What's Spanish for submission, Manny?" And they told me that he said it, which I don't remember at the time, and then he made that announcement on air. But I felt like I could submit him if we hit the ground.
Talk me through the finish, because there you were, full mount, landing bombs, and then you go for a key lock or an Americana, and then right from the key lock or Americana, whatever you want to call it, right from the Americana, you go right into an arm triangle choke. Talk me through the finish. Were you trying to go for the key lock and you just saw an opening for the arm triangle, or was that the plan? Were you using the Americana only as a setup so eventually you could get to the arm triangle choke? Talk me through the finish there.
It's one of those, jiu-jitsu's all ABC 1, 2, 3. One thing leads to another, leads to another. So my thought process was I was grinding pounding him. I hit him with some flush elbows, and if you look at it on TV, they're kind of hard to see because the referee backs right into the camera, mm-hmm. So you don't really see a lot of the good strikes. But I hit him with 3 or 4 solid shots, and I didn't see his eyes roll or anything like that. So I kind of thought, I don't think I was going to knock him out. I don't think I was going to TKO him with that, 30, 45 seconds left. So, I took him out and I pinned his wrist down, which he took as just a resting period. I was just regrouping. From there, I tried to switch to the Americana because, a lot of big guys have unflexible shoulders and you can get a quick tap that way. Well, the defense to that is people kind of come up, they often will straighten their arm up, like they're raising their hand in class, if you will, to defend the Americana. As soon as he did that, I just always switched to the head and arm choke. So, it was fairly, it was just one of those things. I've been training jiu-jitsu for a long time. People just haven't really seen it. I'm a pretty solid purple belt on any mat I step onto. I've been fortunate, practice is practice and fight's fight. It's one thing, but I've submitted brown and black belts in practice. I think my jiu-jitsu is, very underrated. I think people start to see more and more of that. But, yeah, it was definitely a planned thing. But, I was trying the Americana, and he gave me the head and arm choke.
Mm-hmm. It was very slick, very slick.
Appreciate it, thank you.
Yeah. I saw that and I was like, "This is amazing. This is awesome." So I had to get your thought process on that. I know you said you had a conversation in the morning on fight day, and you said that you were going to submit Virgil Zwicker. So I'm just curious, was that always the plan when you got the offer for this fight and you were going through your training camp? Was that always the plan? Did you always think that you were going to take the fight to the ground and submit him? Or was that something that just came to you on the day of the fight? You just woke up that day and were like, "You know what? I think I can tap this guy." What exactly was the game plan going into the fight?
Yeah, it was one of those things that as it kind of got closer. So originally when I talked to my game plan with my coach, Mark Montoya, it was, strikes to takedowns, tire him out, and look for the TKO or the knockout later in the fight. I was fortunate to do a lot of my jiu-jitsu with my head jiu-jitsu coach, JJ Pugsley, who's a Dean Lister black belt, and a guy who's about 250 pounds himself, and just one of the best heavyweights out there. I did a lot of individual training with him as he was getting ready to fight. Now the name slips me, I'll tell you later, but he was getting ready to fight a jiu-jitsu match himself versus the current number one ranked heavyweight in the world. So I was his main training partner for a lot of that. So I think that definitely helped my jiu-jitsu throughout the thing. So originally it was just strike the takedowns, like I was mentioning. And then as we got closer on my jiu-jitsu, just kept feeling stronger and stronger. I thought to myself that I could submit this guy. But originally I just thought I'd tire him out and knock him out late.
Virgil Zwicker is a very difficult guy to get prepared for because he's got such an awkward style. Did anything that happened in this fight surprise you? When you were watching film and you were training, getting ready to fight Zwicker, did he do anything that you weren't prepared for? Did he do anything that surprised you in this fight?
You know what? I saw it on film. He is much quicker and a little bit more athletic than he appears if you're just standing next to him or talking to him. He's got pretty decent footwork, and he covers ground fairly quickly. I said in the beginning he's got a quick trigger on his right hand, and the second round he hit me with a good quick right, which I ate and had no problem with. But still, he's a little bit quicker and a little deceivingly quick. Kind of reminds me of one of those big guys that can actually play basketball or football or has good footwork that you don't necessarily think that does or would. So that's something that kind of surprised me. And I knew he was a tough, durable guy. I mean, he was going into that fight was 14-4-1. He was 4-1-1 in his last 5 and trending upwards. He only been finished twice. Once by knockout by LeVar Johnson, who's obviously a legit heavyweight, and then Linton Vassell had submitted him. So he only been finished twice in his career. So for me to get the finish, I thought was a pretty big deal. So nothing overly surprising, just what I kind of knew already.
Going into the fight, you were on a 2-fight losing streak, and you had lost 4 out of your last 5. Going into that fight, what were the stakes? Did you feel like your job was on the line before the fight?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that was a win or get cut type of fight. You know what I mean? If people saw my social media, there's a clip where I never go check out the cage pre-fight. I just don't ever do that. I'm like, when you get there, you get there. The footing is what the footing is. For some reason, I decided to go out there with my crew and my teammates from Factory X pre-fight, which I said I've never done in my, that was my 11th Bellator fight. So I went out there and, I was listening to my music like I always do and got definitely super emotional, kind of had cold chills and, walking around the cage just because I knew that, a poor performance was going to cost me my Bellator career. So, yeah, when my back, I've never lost 3 in a row, but, when my back's against it, I have lost 2 in a row before, and then that's when I got a flying knee knockout in 2014 over Adrian Miles. So when back's against the wall, I show up. You know what I mean? Hopefully I don't put myself in that position anymore. But it was one of those things I actually knew where I was at. I'm fortunate. I'm an intelligent fighter. I kind of know where I'm at in the world and the big scheme of things and just the way the industry kind of works. So, definitely knew what was at stake and, excited to have a little bit of new lease on life. I definitely, I can't chalk a loss my next time. It doesn't really get me out the woods or anything like that. But I'm excited for the new opportunities, and there's guys in the 205 weight class that I definitely have my eye on and want to fight if they'll give it to me.
How did you celebrate the win over Zwicker?
So I hung out, got to see my, I live in Denver, Colorado now rather than my home state of Ohio. So it was nice. I had my brother, Joe Rogers, who after the fight and some friends hung out. So let's see, Friday night, kept it pretty chill, just went to some lounges and there was a DJ. Unfortunately, they were only playing house music and I'm a hip-hop fan. So dealt through that, just kind of hung out and got some food and got some drinks. And then Saturday, we went up to San Francisco. Big fan of that city, watched the SEC title game and the Big Ten championship and all that stuff all day in San Francisco. And then all my friends and family pretty much took off from there on Saturday. And I actually headed to back to San Jose, to go to a concert. Like I'm a big hip-hop and R&B fan. And the weekend was on tour with Travis Scott at the SAP Center, where the Sharks play and where a lot of the big Bellator events are held and the Strikeforce events used to be held. So I went to that concert that night, and then on Monday came back to Denver.
Where do you think this win puts you in the Bellator 205-pound division? Because obviously Phil Davis is going to fight Liam McGeary for the title. King Mo, he's still in the mix because he didn't fight in the tournament final because he suffered an injury. Now he's over in Japan. He's going to fight, so he'll probably get the winner of that fight. The division is not very deep, but the guys who are in there, they're all interesting matchups for you. And at the top, it's very good. You know, there's Linton Vassell, there's Emmanuel Newton. They just signed Alessio Sakara. Obviously, Tito Ortiz, if he wants to come back and fight. There's also Francis Carmont. There's a lot of good names in there. Where do you think you are in the pecking order at 205?
You know, I think it's one of those things that, you know, Virgil was a middle of the pack guy. He was trending upward. You know what I mean? Off his last couple fights, you know, I was able to submit him and take care of him. The fight I want and the fight I'm asking for, and I'm going to scream as loud as I can. I want to fight Alessio Sakara in Italy in April. He does not have an opponent yet. Obviously, it's going to be Bellator's first time on an international stage. I think that's a great fight for the fans. The guy's been around for forever. You know what I mean? He's a great striker. You know, he's an American top team trained guy, and I think that would be an incredible fight for the fans and for myself. And I see like a good next point in my career if they're going to give it to me. I'm not sure. They might give it to somebody else. So he's kind of on my radar. And then, you know, I think it's also, you know, another guy. They're going to London sometime this year as well. Obviously, Linton Vassell is from the UK. I'd love to fight him on his home turf too. So those are the two guys that are kind of in my crosshairs right now that I think about, just because I know we'll be going there and I assume they're going to be featured. Well, I know Alessio Sakara is going to be featured on that bout. I'm not sure when they're going to Europe, but Vassell's a guy I'd like to fight. He's a former title challenger as well.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. You read my mind. Those were the two fights that I wanted to see if you were interested in, because those are the two that I thought make the most sense for you. So we're on the same wavelength there. Yeah.
If they don't give it to me, it's because they chose to give them an easier fight.
I hear you. Brian, we'll end on this. It's a little segment I like to call Really Random. That's where I ask you a random question and you give me the real answer. Some of these questions are custom-made just for you, and some of these questions are generic ones that I ask all the people I interview. So here's the first question. Superpower you'd love to have?
Oh, be able to go back in time and make better decisions.
Favorite movie?
Step Brothers.
Movie you've seen the most times?
Step Brothers.
Favorite color?
Brown.
Favorite guilty pleasure?
McDonald's fish fillets.
I know you take great pride in being a fashionista, so how would you describe your style?
I like to dress, you know, pretty. I'm a mix. We're between classic menswear. You know, I believe a suit should be tailored. I think it should fit right. And I also love like street hip hop, urban brands, and urban wear as well. So that's kind of what you're going to find me in. Either something like some classic menswear, you know what I mean, something tailored and suited and fit, or you're going to find me, it's going to be fitted as well with some like classic streetwear and apparel, or something like some hip-hop related culture, clothing, excuse me.
Mm-hmm. Greatest fashion trend of all time?
Oh, greatest. I will say, I'll give you a worst instead.
Okay.
The women's high-waisted jeans, those are terrible. Those are bad. Ladies, they do not look good.
Fashion trend you wish would come back?
Oh, let's see. Fashion. I think, you know what? It's a hairstyle. I think like the old 80s haircuts, like a lot of guys in the NBA, like the giant flat top fades and stuff like that. I think that's hilarious. I think those should keep coming back. They remind me of like old Run DMC and like 80s Adidas B-boy stuff.
Who's your fashion icon?
Fashion icon. I won't say I'm a fashion icon, but like like I said, I like classic menswear. I get all of my stuff from mostly David Coutinho's executive tailors. Like a lot of Italian stuff, some like classic like British London streetwear and menswear apparel as well.
Favorite piece of clothing you own?
Favorite piece of clothing I own. You know what? My favorite piece of clothing I own is something I haven't got to wear. I have a Burberry trench coat that I got from a vintage store. That like retailed when it came out at like $2,000, and I got it for $185 and got it authenticated as being legit and everything. But I've worn it like twice in 2 years.
If you could raid any celebrity's closet, who would it be and why?
Oh, any celebrity's closet. I would say, you know what, Kanye's got good style. He has a good mix. He doesn't wear as much menswear stuff as he used to, but his street fashion is probably the best out there. I know everyone pretty much hates that guy because
If you had to wear one piece of clothing for the rest of your life, what would it be?
I'd probably be rocking. You know what? This goes back to my favorite piece of clothing is definitely, and the thing I'd wear forever is my Ohio Against the World crew sweatshirt.
For a long time, companies like Tap Out and Affliction and other companies like that used to be the, quote, MMA uniform. When people thought of MMA fans and MMA culture, they immediately thought of those brands. We seem to be moving away from that. Now, since you're a guy who takes great pride in being fashionable, were you okay with that style, or would you always cringe when you saw the wings of an eagle, or chains, or skulls, or stuff like that?
Well, it's just kind of how the game trends. If you go back, if I look at like an old Facebook picture from like 2006 when like Affliction shirts were cool, like I had them on because it like represented the brand,
right,
and the culture at the time. But now it's more like, when I'm at a show and I see somebody with like an old Affliction shirt or Tap Out shirt, I'm like, that's really like 7-8 years ago. So it is kind of funny, I try to dress the way I dress just to represent myself and also show people that MMA athletes have a little bit more between the ears than you think, or at least this one does, and myself, Brian Rogers. But so that's kind of my reason style. Just the same reason I kind of changed my name from the Predator to the Professional Predator, just the way I kind of want to represent and carry myself. And I believe you kind of look good, feel good, play good type of thing as well.
Are you a lock to win the Bellator Social Media Award for Best Dressed?
If I don't, it's fixed. I don't know who else they're going to give it to. We could go pick for pick.
Have you always been interested in fashion, or is that a recent development?
No, it's one of those things. Is like I kind of got into it a little bit. What really kind of dove me into is when I got opportunities to travel and fight on the big stage. I always wanted to carry myself as a professional athlete. When I was a kid, I always thought I was going to be a professional football player and things like that. Obviously, that wasn't good enough, and that wasn't going to work out. But, recently NFL, NBA, everyone, they've got a dress code, and there's just a certain way you carry and honor yourself. And as I began kind of coming along in my career, I decided I wanted to end up bringing that with me to my MMA career. So I always liked clothing and style, But in college, didn't have that as much. It's more like, streetwear, and, urban fashion and things like that. But, I got more professional, started traveling more for Bellator and had different, opportunities on big stages when I kind of converted over even more so. But now, I've got my suits and everything else. So, you can't wear a suit to every bar or nightclub you go to, then it'd be super overdressed. I think that's why it's important to have like a good streetwear vibe as well.
I know you like going to concerts. You touched on it a little bit earlier when you were talking about what you did to celebrate the win over Virgil Zwicker. So I know you like going to concerts. What's the best concert you've ever been to?
Best concert I've ever been to? You know what? So the Red Rocks venue in Denver is a famous venue. It's built into the side of like the foothills of the mountains, and there's, it's called Red Rocks. It's chipped into the rock. So I've seen Drake and Lil Wayne there, and I also saw A$AP Rocky there, and both those shows are amazing. And I think it's kind of because of the sound, more or less, and the way the sound bounces. Obviously, they're both great entertainers, but those are two shows that really stuck out in my mind. Since I've been to Denver, I've seen a lot more music. People tend to skip Cleveland on their legs and come to Denver a lot more. So I'd say those two. And what was cool was also I saw MGK, Machine Gun Kelly, backstage, or had backstage matches with Machine Gun Kelly when he was in Denver. And it was cool watching it from behind the scenes. Now the sound was muffled and a little bit different because I wasn't in the audience, but to just see how they work and how they do things behind the scenes and kind of coming in and out was very cool.
How often do you go to concerts?
As much as I can. It's funny, a friend of mine texted me today and asked like, what shows are coming up, and I use this app, Bands in Town, to kind of keep up with everything. So I was upset. 2 Chainz was supposed to be here November 20th, and then he canceled, and now he's back December 20th.
Who's on your short list for people you want to see live?
Well, The Weeknd was who I wanted to go see the most, sorry. I was excited to see 2 Chainz because I saw him at the 2012 MTV VMAs before and got to meet him and stuff. I pretty much follow all hip-hop and R&B, so like, the next couple shows I'm going to see Fetty Wap, Pusha T, going to see Future, and T.Y. Dollar Sign all in like February and March. But I pretty much go. So my friend said, "You go see everybody, pretty much." And yeah, that's about right. I've seen Drake a couple times. I've seen Lil Wayne. So I've seen Bone. A ton of people.
Have you always been a fan of live music?
Yeah, I'm kind of and I really love the music culture. I really love the process of songwriting and things like that. I listen to this podcast called Rap Radar, which they interview different people in hip hop and R&B, from musicians to producers and whatever, and talk about the process behind creating songs, and the lyrics come first, did the beat come first, who collaborated on this and that, and I kind of like a lot of that stuff. So something I've just been interested in, honestly, through since probably high school and college, and just now, obviously have the funds and means a little bit more to travel and go see music. But kind of a dream of mine, I would love to be with an artist I like and just hang with them in the studio for a week or so and see the process of how music and songs come together.
Why exactly did you decide to retire from teaching?
It was one of those things where I loved it and enjoyed it. I worked full time for the LEAP program for I think 3 years, and then my career just kind of was taking off. I wanted to travel more and more. It was 2012. I started teaching 2009, and by 2011, 12, I was kind of in the middle of Bellator, and I wanted to do things like come to Denver and train off and on, go to Montreal and train in TriStar, I used to go down to Atlanta and train with Brian Stan. And I just couldn't really do that, working a full-time job. And they were flexible with me, where they let me start to come in to work a little bit late and do things like that. And then, the following year, I just was told them I was done, so I took a year off of teaching. Then they asked me to come back, and I worked part-time, and they let me have flexibility to still travel. They said, hey, just come in when you can, travel when you need to, just give us a heads up on your schedule. So I loved and enjoyed it. And then, when I moved to Denver, Colorado, just didn't have those same opportunities, that same type of flexibility in my schedule and everything. So instead, I kind of got into software sales since I've been out here. I used to work for a company called Zen Plan, which is a member management software company for martial arts and fitness businesses. Worked for them about 9 months, same kind of thing, pretty flexible with my schedule and training. However, now I work for one of the partners that I got introduced to, 97 Display. We do websites and do internet marketing for martial arts and fitness businesses. So I have a home office here in Denver. I travel to North Carolina off and on to work there, and then some conventions and workshops, around the country and things of that nature. But so just my mentality kind of switched to wanting to be involved in more business, marketing, sales, and things like that as I got more embraced in the business side of MMA and traveling to do more appearances and things like that. Just kind of started to fall in love with business a little bit more.
Why exactly did you move to Colorado? Was that for MMA or was that for your day job?
I didn't have a job when I first came out to Colorado. It was for training. I was just looking for a new change in life. My old team, Strong Style MMA in Cleveland, obviously they produce great fighters with people like, Jesse Ice, top 10 in the world, Steve Miocic, who should be getting the next heavyweight title shot after he beats Andre Arlovski. Those are good friends of mine. Last week when I was in Ohio, I went back and trained in Strong Style, no problem. I actually went to my LEAP Christmas party at the school I used to teach at, too. But, I just wanted to change. I just wasn't doing as well as I could think. I wanted a new change in life, a new change in training, because I didn't want to hold anyone responsible for my success and failure other than myself. I just felt like things weren't clicking as much for me back in Cleveland, back in Strong Style.
During your academic career, who was your favorite teacher?
So my favorite in high school, my friend Terry Slattery. I took a program called Athletic Healthcare and Fitness my junior senior year in high school, in which it was like a 3-period career ed class with anatomy and phys, practical taping and wrapping, a lot of shadowing sports professionals and things like that. And my friend Terry Slattery is the head athletic trainer now for Kent Roosevelt, and a guy I still talk to quite a bit. I'd say he definitely was my best high school teacher, definitely. And then in grad school, Dr. Alan Kornspan, who was my academic advisor and professor, and helped me achieve my master's in sports science with an emphasis in coaching and leadership.
Favorite school subject?
Sports, anything sports science related, both in high school and college.
Least favorite school subject?
Math.
If you could go back and relive 1 year of your academic career, what year would it be?
Probably my sophomore year in college. Not so much for the academics, just because how much fun it was to be 19 and not have anything for responsibility. Other than playing football and hanging out.
What's the deal with your hair? It used to be very long. You had the long dreadlocks, shoulder length. Then, at one point in time, you cut it all off and you just went to a more traditional short look. You were keeping it high and tight. Now, it seems to be getting a lot longer. What's the plan with the hair going forward?
Yeah, I'm probably gonna grow it back out. I was trimming it for a while. Like I said, I grew it all. It was down. I had like 8-9 years where it was down like my chest, and then obviously after the Shlemenko fight, I cut it, and then I was growing my dreads back, and I was just trimming it to keep it shorter for the longest while. But now, it's getting to like almost like the bottom of my chin, top of my shoulders. I'm just gonna keep letting it grow. I'll be done fighting before it gets too long, or I'll take an inch here or there, but I'll definitely be keeping my hair long again.
Mm-hmm. Why exactly did you get rid of it in the first place? Was it because it was getting in your way when you were training? Guys were grabbing it when you were fighting? It was too hard to maintain? Why exactly did you cut it off in the first place?
If you watch the fight with Alexander Shlemenko, in the first round, he pulls my hair while he tries to foot sweep me. My head whips back. In the second round, when he got the finish, he just locked onto my dreads, and I was in the Muay Thai plum. And I kept eating knees and couldn't get out of it. So that was the reason, because I felt like it cost me thousands and thousands of dollars in that loss.
Favorite food?
Pizza or anything Italian.
Least favorite food?
Coleslaw. It's the worst.
Favorite restaurant?
Currently Southside Pizzeria in Littleton, Colorado.
Do you have any pre-fight rituals or superstitions?
I'm very detail-oriented, like my prep and my planning and things like that. And I like to make sure I get a cold bath to help recover pre-fight. But no, I just kind of do everything kind of the same. Nothing really super ritualistic, however, though.
Do you have any post-fight rituals?
Post-fight. Have my suit and tie ready. Always got to be prepared, win or lose, so walk out looking clean.
Celebrity people say you look like?
So with a hat on and my beard, I get Common a lot, even though he's bald. Like I said, so with a hat on. I did a throwback Thursday the other day of me in high school with a shaved head or short hair. I used to get Mike Tyson a lot and whatnot. Who's
your celebrity crush?
Celebrity crush. I'm not super huge into celebs. I feel like it's hard for me to be attracted to a person if I don't know like their real vibe. So I can't jump on to like one real person. I will say most celebrities that are like redheads that I'm kind of into on the female side. Emma Stone, I think that's one, and I don't know. I can't think of that. Like I said, I don't pay attention to actresses too much.
Favorite social media platform?
Instagram. I feel like that's the best way to get a look at someone's true personality and vibe, by the trips they go on, the type of things that they post. And there's way less commentary. I will be retired from Facebook or have a fake Facebook name as soon as I'm done fighting. I can't stand it.
Website you visit most often?
Complex Magazine.
Besides
pop culture site, a lot of music, stuff like that.
Besides fighting and fashion and going to concerts, what are your other hobbies?
Let's see. I've become a bit of a craft beer nerd. I kind of like some of the breweries and things that are like out here like that, but I don't really have enough time or the ability to drink enough to really get into it because of training. But that's kind of cool, kind of interested in that. But mostly music and fashion is all I really have time to. I'd like to get into photography. I have a nice camera. Took photography in high school, so that's something I'd like to get into more. When I get done fighting, I will not be playing golf. I hate the sport, but I will become a senior tennis player.
If you could stay one age forever, how old would you stay?
I feel like 30 is good. You know what I mean? You're over the hump of your 20s. You're starting on to your 30s. I tell people my life gets better each and every year. Each and every year, my life gets a little bit cooler. I like the different stages and the different changes, but I guess just from the development side, you know what I mean, athletically and mentally, I guess 30 seems good. I didn't fall off the wagon like most people do.
If you could trade places with anyone in the world for a week, who would you trade places with and why?
Anyone for a week. I guess I can't say a person. I can give a title. I'd either be in the NFL, a top NFL athlete, or a top music superstar.
Go-to song when you're singing in the shower?
Not a go-to song that I sing in the shower, but that I'll put on repeat driving and training is March Madness by Future.
What's your porn star name? If you combined your childhood pet with the street you grew up on, what would your porn star name be?
It would be Zach Denise.
What's your rapper name? If you combined your favorite cartoon character with your nickname, what would your rapper name be?
It would be Scooby. I was a big Scooby-Doo fan, so it would be Scooby Predator.
This week is Christmas. Do you like Christmas music? And if so, what's your favorite Christmas song?
I do not like Christmas music. Don't like Christmas music at all. I guess the classic Jingle Bells.
Okay.
I'll go with that.
Okay. Do you have a favorite Christmas movie?
Oh, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation is the best.
Can't go wrong. Can't go wrong. That rant, classic.
Oh yeah.
What are your plans for Christmas this year? Are you going back to Ohio to spend Christmas with your family? Are they coming to visit you in Colorado? What's the plan for Christmas?
I was in Ohio last Monday night until yesterday, actually. So I'm going to be in Colorado. If that's Tuesday, I've got some other family in Nebraska that I'm going to go see. So that'll be fairly local.
Does your family have any Christmas traditions?
At my house, yeah, my parents' house in Ohio. My dad's a retired state trooper. He always used to have to work midnights.
Mm-hmm.
Or actually, you know what? I don't know. For long story, because of his work shifts, more often than not, we would open up gifts at midnight rather than Christmas morning. Because as we got older, he had to go. He worked day shifts, so he'd have to leave at 6, 7 in the morning to go work and get home to the afternoon. So we'd go to bed, or actually as we got older, we knew Santa Claus wasn't real. Sorry to anyone listening who believes in Santa. But we'd stay up until midnight, open gifts at midnight, then we'd all go to bed, you know what I mean, play with their stuff, take with their stuff, and then go to bed, and then he'd get up and go to work in the morning. And now even, my dad being retired, we're home and everything, we wait till midnight still, and we stay up watching TV and whatnot, and open gifts at midnight on Christmas Eve.
What's your New Year's resolution?
New Year's resolution. I used to have more goals, just stay on track, you know what I mean, want to keep developing, this new, light heavyweight body, and just stay on track with, doing things I need to do to be successful and keep trending upwards within Bellator.
Mm-hmm. How would you rate 2015 as a year, both personally and professionally?
It's success, you know what I mean? Like, I have my ups and downs within the big scheme of things, in the big scheme of things of life, I'm definitely a person who's winning. I'm fortunate that I, fight one of the best organizations in the world. I'm a professional athlete. I'm fortunate that also, I've also been able to work and use my college degrees to continue to make extra money outside of fighting. So, just having those opportunities, at the edge of my fingertips in two different ways, those are things I'm, thankful and happy for. So, I guess I can't really rank it, but I'd still say I'm doing better than, a lot of people, fortunately.
You're involved with an organization called Kids Capes of Courage. How did you get involved with that organization?
So my good friend Alex Rowland, his mother, Debbie Rowland, created the organization, and they were just looking to get some more exposure for it and whatnot. So I was obviously kind of in my background with teaching and working with children and things of that nature, so I said that would definitely help. I think we're only at $700. I had a goal of raising $2,500 by Christmas, and we're going to be a little short of that. We're just going to hopefully keep it going and whatnot. Hopefully we can get to 1,000 or 1,500. But there's a GoFundMe for Kids Capes of Courage. People can usually find it on my social media. But for those that don't know, they make capes for children that have oftentimes terminal illnesses or just are facing surgery or just facing grave situations. So I've been asking people, if you see the link, donate $5. When I first posted it, I think a couple hundred people liked it, and no donations came in. Well, if people would have given $1, we'd have made a couple $100. But,
right.
Likes and shares don't, pay bills. So,
if your life story was made into a movie, what would the title be?
Oh, my life story was made into a movie. Functional Degenerate.
Why would that be the title?
Oh, I don't know. I always feel like I'm I'm a guy who pretty much does the right thing and is in the right place at the right time, takes care of good opportunities. my friends know I'm pretty silly, I'm pretty goofy and stuff like that. But I just feel like I always feel like my life's like one bad decision away from being like Louis C.K.'s on Louis or something like that.
What's your pet peeve?
Pet peeve. People right now, people with a 4th grade education who think they can solve the world's problems on Facebook.
Let's say you found a magic lamp, and you rubbed that magic lamp, and a genie appeared, and the genie said he was going to grant you 3 wishes. What would those 3 wishes be?
Was this one of those genies where it's really going to come and bite me in the ass? Or
No. not. I don't remember. I think it's like Geico or one of those commercials. The literal genie. No. So if you say I want $1 million, a million deer aren't going to show up on your lawn. So just the normal genie.
3 wishes. I think it would be, for all my friends and family to have a lifetime full of good health. I would say also, you know what? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. So I would say also just continue to provide myself and others with great opportunities. I feel like in life, all you can ask for is opportunities. It's up for you to capitalize on them. And then, yes, I would ask for millions of dollars. Thirdly, but unselfishly, I would say health and wellness and opportunity for others.
Time period you'd like to go back and visit, and why?
I really like, the older time period. I really like older photos when you see people in suits and in clothing, from the 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s. I really kind of like that time period where everyone dressed up and things like that. However, I wouldn't go back there, obviously, because of racism and segregation. Right. But if you could get rid of that, I like the style of the clothing and the culture and the manners and professionalism that existed. So, yeah, I've been asked that before. And I'm like, well, minus being considered a second-class citizen. Seems all right.
I hear you. Person you look up to the most?
Person I look up to the most. I'd say probably, my father, my dad, Kevin Rogers. My dad and I are a lot different. He's much quieter than I am, but he just taught me a solid work ethic and to do things the right way and, keep working and things will add up. But definitely my dad.
What do you worry about? What's something that keeps you up at night?
I'm super paranoid. I always think that, I'm going to get in a car accident or, I'm going to be in a grocery store at the wrong place at the wrong time. Dying young, super worries me.
Right. Best advice you were ever given through life and best advice you were ever given through fighting, and who gave it to you?
Best in life. I can't narrow it down to one thing, but I'd say just the lessons that my parents and my dad have taught me. In fighting, I'd say one thing that stuck with me a lot was I used to go up to TriStar a lot. And for us, the Hobbies, he's a really super nice guy, good coach, and I used to go up there a lot. And he told me, he was like, people always would get on me for my conditioning and things like that. And I always did the proper things to put myself in shape going into the fights. And he said, Brian, you don't have a conditioning problem. You've got a pacing problem. You just fight too fast. Sometimes you just blow out too much in the beginning. So that was a good thing. I think I'm doing better at that. I've continued to do better at that since, not starting such a frantic pace.
What's your hidden talent?
Hidden talent. I'm really good. I'm a pretty good friend and pretty good at giving advice. I'm a bit of a counseling personality. Really, I've told people before I'd love to work in Division I college athletics, doing academic counseling, mentorship, and things like that.
Number one thing on your bucket list?
I'd like to live in Europe for a few years.
Last question. If you could change one thing about the world, what would you change and why?
One thing. It would just be, and this doesn't have to be formal. I tell you all the time, you don't have to go to college for me to consider you educated, but there's a lot of just ignorant things going on right now in the world with people's thoughts and views. But just if everyone could have a breath of fresh air and educate themselves on, issues and things like that. So education, but like I said, it doesn't have to be college education. It's just reading and learning about the things you're ranting and raving about. I think if people were more intelligent, people were more educated on a lot of issues, there'd be way less crime, prejudice. I mean, you name it. It's just about being enlightened and seeing a little bit more of the world.
Brian, real quick before I let you go, do you have any sponsors you'd like to thank, and is there anything you'd like to say to the fans?
Yeah, definitely like to thank everybody for continuing to support my career through the ups and the downs. Hopefully we'll continue to trend upward. Let's see, sponsor-wise, I definitely have a list here, which I can rattle off. But definitely SpiderTech Kinesio Tape. You know, they're an awesome kinesio tape that's really helped me with my recovery and strength and conditioning as I've developed and changed myself to 205. So that's been great. Kids Capes of Courage, as I mentioned, the GoFundMe, I'll get it up on my social media so people can check it out. Voyager Athletes, it's a lot of my sport training equipment, you know, ladders, ropes, balls, cones, agility things of that nature. The company I work for, 97 Display. If you're a martial arts and fitness business owner, you need a website or SEO internet marketing, then you should hit me up. 97 Display, 336-701-5477. Future Legend, Rev Gear University, Lana's Egg Whites, Crow's Auto Body in Canton, Ohio, and Performance MMA, which is my buddy's MMA retail and clothing shop.
Brian, thank you for taking the time to talk. I really appreciate it, and Merry Christmas to you and your family.